Alright, you guys, Barcelona beat Osasuna. What does this mean for La Liga? How did they play in this game? And who were the people who stood out in this match to me? Let's talk about all of this and more. But first, if this is your first time seeing my videos, hi guys, I am Just Max, and on this channel I talk about football from the La Liga to the Prem to the UCL. And if this is something that you are definitely interested in, please stick around, be my friend, be my homie. I would love it. I'm trying to grow this channel, so I would love you to be part of it. And of course, it's always going to be Vishka Barca for me. If you're a culé, hit that subscribe, leave me a comment in the comment section. Let's talk about the game between Barcelona and Osasuna, because boy, one thing is for certain, two things for sure. Haram ball or no haram ball, the cream will always rise to the top. But if I get ahead of myself, let's look at the team that Hansi Flick put together for this week's edition of the La Liga. It's Joan Garcia in goal. Now, as you remember, we talked about this last week. Ter Stegen is back fit and healthy. I love the fact that Hansi Flick did not mince words when he talked about the fact that Joan Garcia is the undisputed number one for Barcelona. I love it. There cannot be any kind of confusion as to who is starting at this point in our La Liga career. It's not any kind of slight to Ter Stegen or anything like that. It's just what it is. Jules Koundé in the right back position for Barcelona. Kubasi and Gerard Martin are starting to look like a solid pair. Before I move on from Jules Koundé, he did had a contribution in this game, which we'll talk about. Of course, Alejandro Balde rounded out that backline for Barcelona. Once again, we are seeing Eric Garcia start over Frankie de Jong in the 6th position, and it was pair partner today with Pedri. We did see a redefined or a new front line, I should say rather, of Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Marcus Rashford and Ferran Torres for Barcelona today. And when we started the game, the first thing that occurred to me was Osasuna did not come to play football. They had a 5-man backline to start the game, but honestly, I thought it was a 10-man backline, or at least a 9-man backline. You know, they just didn't do anything. They said, attack where? Attack who? For what reasons? Barcelona? Heck no. What we're going to do is we're going to stand in front of our goalkeeper and just mark the 18. And when I say the 18, I'm actually being quite loose with it. It's actually the box, you know, the keeper's arena. We're just going to mark that. We're just going to prevent any balls from coming in. We're not going to try and advance the ball. And we're going to keep Victor Munoz up front. If any ball were to like just come out wing and then he can run at the Barcelona defense. That exactly was their gameplay today. And for a Barcelona fan, much of that first half was frustrating to me, because I don't like it when teams come out and then they sit in this kind of deep low blocks, because then you start to see the game becomes very boring, very lethargic. I felt like we didn't have enough energy. But to be fair, it's not the players, right? You can't just be passing for the sake of passing, or because you want to like force something to happen and then you give away like a dangerous pass, and then of course the back line is exposed. So much of that play I felt in the first half was a little bit safe from Barcelona. It was a little bit central wide. You know, it wasn't giving very much creativity, but again, those passing channels were very much on lockdown from Osasuna. They did not come outside at all. They were not trying to be engaged. They were not trying to be caught sleeping. And in fact, in that first half, I do think that there was a couple of opportunities where Osasuna could have very well taken the lead for themselves, you know, with again Victor Munoz, who was just giving our backline a run. Like sometimes this new generation of players, I used to think that maybe some of you actually wanted to be track and field stars, but it just didn't work out, and then you ended up becoming football stars, because the way some of you are packing up this speed is insane. Victor, he do be running. He can run. Like he can run. He can really put a pace together, especially when he had the ball at his feet. He was a problem for Balde. He was a problem for Kubasi and Gerard Martin. It was just a problem all around. But thankfully, you know, one of the things I like today is that when we defended as a unit. When we made mistakes, we made a mistake as a unit too. It's quite funny, but it's what it is. But we go into that first half 0-0. I thought the second half was a little bit better from Barcelona. I thought Lamine Yamal was impressive. In fact, even in the first half, I thought like he was just dancing and weaving and putting together a show. I thought like he had a very, very good game. The only thing that was missing from me from Lamine Yamal today was just a goal and assist. The defenders that were on him today, they had a hard time. He was amazing. It was quite frankly a delight to watch. He did end up winning the man of the match, but I think this performance today from Lamine Yamal just reminded everybody why he is the La Liga player of the month for last month. Another player that impressed me in this game, and of course we cannot go a day in a Barcelona match without talking about him. I should say, it's become customary at this point. Is Pedri. Pedri was just sensational today in this game for Barcelona. I thought the way he carried the ball, the way he was able to take care of the ball, his defensive work rate is something that often gets overlooked, but it's coming to become an integral part of our play as well. Because some of the times, like when Osasuna, the rare occasions where Osasuna had the ball, Pedri was always there to block out a pass. I know there was that mistake that he did that sent through Victor Munoz, or was it Budimir, on, but then again Barcelona was able to recover. But I thought together his entire play today was just very vintage Pedri, very sleek, and it made sense to me that he had this kind of performance on a day when Andres Iniesta was in the pitch watching. It was almost like the past and the present colliding at the same time, because watching Pedri, you can see the traces of Andres Iniesta's game style. It was so beautiful, and to have him seated in the crowd watching his younger self on display, it was so beautiful. He did so well, and when Barcelona needed a goal, I really love the combination play between Pedri and Rafinha in this moment. Pedri picks up the ball, he runs with it, and then the way he holds his run at the same time to kind of confuse the Osasuna defenders, because again, I might not say it very often, but Ferran Torres, even though he did not get a goal in this game, he did cause a lot of problem for Osasuna. So in that moment when Barcelona were trying to, the sequence of play for that first goal, Osasuna defenders were caught in two minds. Do we go with Rafinha, or do we go with Ferran Torres, who up until this point has been just like a live wire in the box? It's been such a stressful pain in the ass for them. They did end up going with Ferran Torres, and as predicted, Pedri just releases Rafinha, who, by the way, laces it through, and it's 1-0 for Barcelona in a game that almost looked destined to end 0-0. And y'all know, if you watch any bit of my video, I live for Rafinha. So the next player I'm going to highlight in this game is going to be obviously Rafinha. I love it. I love the fact that he was the one today that has, come out and, take the bull by the horn. He was the one today that basically, got the goals for Barcelona. Like I said, Ferran Torres, he had a good game. The only thing that was missing from him today, in my opinion, was those goals when we needed it. It just maybe a touch wide, a touch too far. Those kind of things were the things that were missing from Ferran Torres today. But I thought he was quite exciting. I thought he gave the Osasuna defenders, something to think about. But the reason I say all of that to say is that we needed a goal, and I wasn't sure where it was going to come from today. And to see that Rafinha has popped up once again in a match where we needed him is quite amazing to me. Like ever since Rafinha came back from injury, he's just been showing people why I have been saying that he was the Ballon d'Or for last season. His combination play today with Pedri, to be able to score that first goal, the touch, the shot, everything was just so beautiful. But even before he scored the goal, there was that audacious shot that he took from inside the Barcelona half when he spotted the goalkeeper off his line, and then he had that audacity to try and lob the goalkeeper from way back when. It just was a little bit long, but I saw the idea and I loved the idea. I love what he was doing today in the pitch. He had good movements. It was just that the Osasuna defense was really, really good. It's unfortunate that they have ended up losing today, Osasuna, but I thought that from a defensive standpoint of view, they had a really good game. It might not have been the most exciting game, but it was a good game from their point of view. But I'm excited that we did end up winning, obviously. The second goal for Barcelona would end up coming from a mistake with Osasuna. A cross from Koundé finds an Osasuna player. It's a defender who's trying to whack it away, obviously, as they've been doing. The ball comes again to Rafinha, who is just tucked away in the back post, and he slices it home. There was a conversation about whether or not this was offside, but because the Osasuna defender had made a play for the ball, it's no longer offside at this point. You've played in Rafinha for the goal, and I live for it. And again, as I said, Rafinha has come back, and he's just giving our attack a whole different dimension. I know he didn't particularly have the best game during the week against Frankfurt, so to see him come out and have this kind of impact for Barcelona, I live for it and I love it. Now I have to give an honorary mention to, of course, Jules Koundé, because this is the second game where he's impacted the game in an area where I don't really expect him to be doing so. On the week, obviously, as I mentioned in my review, if you didn't watch that game, Barcelona versus Frankfurt, I have a video, please go watch it. Like in the week, I popped up with 2 goals or 2 powerful headers to help Barcelona secure much needed 3 points in the Champions League, and today he's come out with an assist of sorts, you know, to help Rafinha and Barcelona secure that nice, very glossary 2-0 win against Osasuna. I also want to highlight Rashford, whom I thought had a really good game today. Like, he was always doing some of the most important things. I think he was involved in one of the build-up. I think the build-up for the first goal. I think he did a lot of things. His movements was great as well. He gave the Osasuna players something to think about. But when a team like Osasuna decides that it is haram ball that they have come to play, oftentimes it's very, very difficult. So I loved it for him today. He didn't get a goal or assist today, I don't think, but like, ultimately, we can see that this player is not the player that joined us just this summer. He's really, really growing in confidence. I also have to highlight Gerard Martin as well, who is actually looking like he could be our starting CB, left CB. He had a really good game as well. Now, what does this mean? That now that Barcelona has ended up winning this game, well, that means more pressure for Real Madrid. Barcelona now goes 7 points clear at the top of La Liga. Obviously, we have played one more game more than Real Madrid, who will be going to play Deportivo Alaves tomorrow, who are not a very easy team, to be fair. But the most important thing for, I think, Real Madrid is the thing that would be bothering Real Madrid players is Real Madrid fans, I should say rather, is the fact that Real Madrid players will be going into this game with just 2 defenders available for them, a completely decimated back line, you know, and this is a team, a squad that has been, you know, besought by injuries this season. It's kind of sad, you know, but again, this is a must-win game for Xabi Alonso. So the pressure is on. It's like the pressure is getting worse, you know. Real Madrid have to turn in a performance tomorrow. They must get all 3 points if Xabi Alonso, according to what we're hearing in the media, is going to be in the position. But also the pressure to stay on pace with Barcelona. It's now 7 points gap between Barcelona and Real Madrid. Obviously, it's looking very dicey. They cannot afford to drop any more points, and you have to realize that the title race this season too as well is, well, Barcelona running away with it at the moment, but like everybody else, it's really looking dicey. You cannot afford to drop more points. And of course, I will be watching that game because obviously I want to see what happened. I'm looking forward to how it all wraps up, and I will be talking about it either here or on my TikTok, which is also at JustMax. So in case you're not following me there, please do well to do so. I drop a lot of nuggets on my TikTok that don't necessarily make it on here because those are more short form, very quick, very contents that you would really, really love. So that has been it for me. My top standout players for this game, of course, is Pedri, Rafinha, whom I love, you guys know this, and of course it's Lamine Yamal, who was just a beauty to watch. Let me know who stood out to you in this game as well. Let me know your thoughts on this game, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.